Alright guys, so today I wanted to bring you in for another edit. We are going to be doing something that just kind of was sprung on me today. I was doing a floor plan for an agent that I had previously shot this house for, and I was told the home would be vacant. They're not living there right now. They're living somewhere else, and no one would be home. Go in through the lockbox, grab the floor plan, and get out. The homeowner actually met me there, and the homeowner had changed some things in the house that she felt was a better photo based on the feedback she had been given from her buyers or the potential buyers of the home. And she had asked if I would take some pictures for her, just a couple angles so that we could get those refreshed. And I only had brought my camera bag without a tripod, without anything else, because again, I was not planning on doing any of this stuff, but I brought my camera bag just because. And I ended up taking these all by hand without a flash, and they are all going to be blended using Lightroom Infuse, and they're going to be HDRs. We're not doing anything crazy complicated. It is a little bit older of a house, as you can see. I have already blended them because I want to try and keep these videos a little bit shorter, a little more precise, but I'm going to give you kind of that raw, we're going to go through it. I have not edited any of these photos yet, and I just want to bring you guys along so you can kind of see that, see what we're getting, because again, I want to kind of be that voice, that photographer that is like not showing you the, you know, pristine, perfect, award-winning architecture photos. I want to show you what this is really like. This is something that I'm paid for. This is a house you can go see on the market right now, and this is largely what you're going to be doing, and these are situations you can get in, and this is kind of how I work my way out of them. So we have our photos blended in Lightroom Infuse. We are going to be focusing on the interiors. You can tell that they came out mildly dark, but that is okay. This one's a little bit tall. This is because there's a desk and a chair there, and I couldn't get it. We probably won't turn this one in just because I don't like the ceiling on this one, but that's okay. We've got enough in here that they can re-update some of those photos, especially with these guys here, and I'll be good to go. So let's get into it. I've got this guy here. I'm going to turn the brightness up on him. I'm actually going to do, I don't have a post infuse for my HDRs, which I used to have, but I have a base sharpening preset I'm going to apply to it. I'm going to just turn this up and kind of use my scroll wheel to get it to be a brightness where I like. I like the hump of all of the midtones to be to the right of the frame, so ETTR, exposed to the right. I think it is slightly yellow, so I'm going to do like a -2. TIFFs tend to react a little bit more to this than, say, a raw file. Raw files tend to be a little more gradual. I'm going to turn those up a little bit. It is a little dark down here. Again, I'm using only ambient light that was there. And again, I really like how Lightroom Infuse does this, so I think it's a good bit of practice. Kind of show you guys how you can't get away with this. Again, radial gradients are the best thing in the world. I love them. Drag that guy down there. Very, very good. And you can see this house is kind of a little bit of an older house. It's not the greatest color in the world. It's to be expected. And then we really just want to get these windows to be just a little bit better. So I'm going to go grab a frame that has some good windows. This one is not terrible. What I'm doing is I'm going to kind of push and pull this raw file to match up and be that inside to be nice and bright, because we're going to try something that I have had worked before, but not in a while. Make sure we got them. Okay, Alt-PE up, Enter. That's going to open them as layers in Photoshop. That's how you do that really, really quickly. We're going to be using my luminance masking that I use through Raya Pro. Again, I am not a Lumenzia person. You'll see that a lot. I just have never learned Lumenzia, and Raya Pro is what I learned. Highly recommend you give it a purchase if you are looking for a way to work with masking, because it is a fantastic plugin. I'm going to choose my brights, and what I'm looking for is usually brights 2 is where I want. This is kind of what we're looking for here. I'm going to push and pull these shadow sliders around, so this is going to darken it or lighten it based on the mid-tone shadows and highlights. That's what I want right there. And let's pull those highs down so we get a really, really nice white mask around there. Now we'll see what this looks like. I'm just going to take my dark frame and I'm going to drop it on there. And that doesn't look horrible. It is off slightly, so we are going to, because again, these were handheld, so I'm going to disable the mask. I'm going to grab these two, and we are going to auto-align these layers. We're probably going to need to crop slightly, just because it will give us some lines around. There it goes. That's fine. That lined up perfectly. We'll crop later. We'll turn that back on. Gotta be honest, that's really not that bad. I think that's okay. We are going to take and put another, oops. We're going to put it in a folder or a group, and we're going to mask that group. You can hold Shift while you do a lot of these, or Alt, and it will do it for you. You click rather than, oh, and I am at 100% opacity, which is not what I want because I was doing something earlier. So we will do a 30% opacity and a 15% flow. That's going to give me a really gentle brush, and make sure we're on white, and we're just going to kind of come over here and paint this stuff in so we get a better mask through all of this. Yeah. You can see that does pretty good. Something else you can sometimes do is you can like duplicate it again and have two of them if you really want. I think it looks okay for what it is. There's not a great view out of a lot of this stuff. I am going to come up here and mask this guy just because I do think it will be a better use of my time. Using a quick mask. And then let's... And also I'm just going to come in here because I don't really care, and I'm just going to mask this as well. Because we're not using anything else there. I think that's good. Let's hit F4 to bring it in. Then let's go ahead and crop it. I have a 16:9 ratio on here. That's a phone one. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Clear, please. Okay. And it usually likes to snap to your edges sometimes. The other thing you can do, as a matter of fact, let's do that. We'll go and show you this one. You can go to Image Trim, and you can say, oh, hang on a second. Flattened it. What we'll do, we will do an Alt-Control-Shift-E to stamp visible, and then we will go here and we will say Trim Transparent Pixels and trim away all of these, and boom. There we go. We didn't even have to crop it. I don't know if that's going to show up at the top. Sometimes Photoshop is kind of strange with this sometimes, so I'm just going to do that. There we go. All right. Sometimes it can be a little picky. Now we're going to hit my F5, so I build my color layer out. Click on this guy because I keep having problems with it. And we're just going to paint some of these color castings out. They're not terrible, but I do want to paint some of the color casting out so that we don't have to deal with it. Again, there can be some around here. That's not a big deal. I'm being pretty liberal with where I paint and loose, which is fine. I'm just trying to make everything more of a uniform color so that we don't have to deal with... let's go with the darker one, I think. That lighter is usually better. It's tough sometimes because it can give you problems. Again, like I said, I'm being pretty liberal with this. You don't have to go nuts. Go nuts, it'll take the color off everything, but I think that's fairly good. And then I would probably just grab this guy and then just kind of paint. Click a couple times, bring that color out. Just like that. F4, save, Control W. Boom, there we go. And that is a handheld real estate photo. We'll come back into Lightroom here. And I might take this tone curve and just go like a medium contrast. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe push the shadows just a bit to raise it up. Right there. We'll go transform, automatic. Got that guy. I will label him with a rank so we know that that is the one we're going to, and we will come over here. Now, another thing you can do, since we already have this, we could just click on all of our different angles that we're going to use, which is this one, use that one, we're going to use this one, and we will sync this across. And then that way they all kind of inherit the same values for their edit as each other. And this one looks pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I did shoot these at a strange... you can't see it because it didn't save the shutter on it, but these were... I had to open up the aperture a little bit, but these are pretty good. I like this one. Alright, let's deselect and grab that guy. Let's go find a really nice outdoor exposure. This one's too dark. I think we will use the old rule of Grab one that's a little bit too bright and just pull it down. And then we're gonna push the shadows and push those blacks. Pull the whites down as much as we can, and the highlights. We're really kind of crushing this one. And that is again because I want this blend as good as it can. We will go Alt PE up, enter. Take these into Photoshop, which it is loading right now. And the reason that I'm doing that is because when I do those masks, you want it, excuse me, I'm tired today. I was not expecting to have a shoot today. We are wanting it to be as close to the middle as possible because we are trying to match those shadows up so that when you blend, you don't get that really, really hard looking masking where you get like you just get really weird aberrations when you do that. The windows and the highlights don't look right. The shadows don't look right. It gets really muddy and really flat. And then you get these really strange masking aberrations. This ensures that we don't have to do that a little bit. It gives us a little bit of leeway on that. So we'll come in here, instant mask. We'll do our brights too, which is what we were doing last time. I actually am wrong. We need to turn this layer off because we don't want it to be grabbing from that. We want it to be grabbing from the base layer. This is pretty good. What does 1 look like? These are just different, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are just different tone mappings so that it just clamps them down. It limits your selection as you go more and more. This is fairly good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am not going to use a mask on this one, and the only reason why is because it's a fairly simple selection, and I think that it will be just as fast, and you guys can kind of see how loose I am with this. And this is where that 2-pixel feather that I use comes in handy, is because you don't have to be pixel perfect on this. And that is one rule I have for photography, is you don't have to be perfect, it just has to look like it, because that is a lot of photography. You'd be surprised how many quote-unquote professionals out there are not perfect at what they do. You just kind of critique your own work because you're a little bit too close to it. And another one is that, like, this is the business of photography, right? So we have to be able to do this in a way where we are still going to make money, but we are not taking a crazy amount of time, because you can charge for it. Absolutely can charge for it. But this was unplanned, and this is something that I am providing to this agent because I can, and because I like this agent and I like this homeowner, and this makes the homeowner happy, and this looks very good on me. I am charging for this, mind you, just not as much as you would expect. I am only charging about $100 for all of this, the floor plan and this. The floor plan was originally going to be $75, but this is a reflection of it in the back, that's funny. But my floor plans are usually only $50. I use Cubicasa because it's free, and it's a really easy add-on that you can put in, and I was going to do 75 because this is about 30 minutes from my house, and I needed to charge for the time since I'm not doing another service. And yeah, get that right? Boom, we did. It didn't add up, so we can right-click. I forgot about that. We will align these two really quick. But yeah, so I'm charging about $100 for this. It's only going to be 4 photos and like one of the lake. I think I hit auto blend. Whoops. I did. Hold on a second here. I think let's do this again. We'll mask it. We gotta invert that mask because that is not correct. We will then disable the mask. Grab these two. I accidentally hit auto blend instead of auto align. There we go. I was like, man, what happened? There we go. Boom. And now we can kind of see, oops, sorry. Now you can see, there we go. We're perfectly lined up. Have a nice exposure there. Honestly, we could even probably change the opacity a little bit, make that slightly brighter. I think that feels better for the scene. We do need to come in here and kind of brighten this up a little bit because I feel like it's not where it could be. So we are going to hit F4 to stamp everything and flatten it. We're going to hit Control-Shift-A to open it in Camera Raw. We will boost this a little bit, and then I'm going to do my favorite radial gradient down here. Gonna rotate it, bring it in. I love radial gradients because of their flexibility, man. They're so nice. That gives us a nice boost. I'm just gonna come in and crop this. I know I already did the trim, or I can't do the trim thing this time because Whoop. Whoa. Easy Photoshop. Go getting crazy on. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, just like that's fine. All right, F4 to flatten it, save it, and we're good. Hit Control W. Oh, you know what? We didn't actually take off any of the color. Let's fix that real quick. F4, F5, go to B, click on this guy. You know, there's really not a whole lot I have to worry about on this one, which is super nice. This one came out really clean. Again, it's kind of one of those things about Infuse that I like. It's because it does not, a lot of the time, need a whole lot of help to make things look good. I will tell you one thing, I do not like Infuse for exterior photos. I think Infuse is one of the worst things you can get for exterior photos. Might just be because I have not, oopsie daisy, it might not just be because I have not found a good way to do it. But I have used them for twilights and they make everything, the problem is they make everything too flat. And it's great for interiors because that's really what you want. You want that kind of flatness to bring in a little bit of it, but outside, it just doesn't work as well. I have found. And let's make sure that loaded. It did. There it is. Make sure you get that little thing. Import the settings to disk. I'll change some of our colors around. Our one, we are good to go. We are not going to deliver this photo. We are going to deliver this photo. Honestly, outside of a little bit of, we're going to do a little bit of correction. We'll do it inside of Photoshop. Guy there. I'm going to take my tone curve and make it a medium. Let's go back to this one really quick. Do we think we need to put a medium on this? The tone curve, like a medium saturation, medium contrast, excuse me. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Just enough. It's still a little dark down here. I keep pointing with my fingers. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. This one's a little bit crooked. Again, handheld, like, this is all handheld. Yeah, this one's pretty good. I'm gonna take it into Photoshop now. You can't do Alt-PE up enter with this one, I don't believe. Oh, you could, but I don't know if it would open correctly. It might. I'll just do this as a smart object. And we will get it taken care of. That's one thing I also don't like about Lightroom and Photoshop is that when it opens, you do open in Photoshop or edit in Photoshop as whatever. If you have it maximized and snap to your window, it minimizes it and moves it. It's really strange. I've never enjoyed that. And again, I'm sure that there is someone far smarter than me, like my gentleman that educated me on After Effects and why After Effects does what it does, which I, whoopsie daisy, which I very much appreciated. Yeah, I am clicking way too much here. Because this mic's in front of me and I'm usually like a little bit more sat back. This is kind of funny. Ooh boy. Could we please not be screwing this up? Thank you. Dumb fingers today. Sometimes I have those days. Like I said, what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of cleaning up these colors to kind of just make them a little bit more uniform. I don't have the goal of making them look perfect. So many photographers out there love to make everything frickin' white and just like so clinical and so sterile. It makes buyers hate going to the home. I can't tell you how many buyers I have met afterwards who I have shot their homes later on who have been like, man, you nailed it. Like, we went in and this is exactly what we expected. We thought the photos were great. They weren't that trash that you see that is just pure white this, pure this. This color doesn't look right. And I don't know. Some people just, I get it. I get it. Like, you know, everything has a style, but I just don't think it's that good. I also really love using guided in here if I have not spoken about that. The guided marks in Photoshop are so much better than the ones in Lightroom because you can get so specific with your mouse movements. If you hold Alt, it makes them so much more specific and like pixel by pixel movement. That's where Lightroom just kind of like chugs and it's just like chunk, chunk, chunk. You know what didn't work there? The bed. See if we can go do another one of those really fast. This isn't a raw photo, it doesn't remember it. We're gonna do two horizontals. We're gonna do the bed here because the bed is where I am noticing that we have a little bit of a skew. Whoop! There we go. That's perfect. Boom. There we go. Nice straight on. Looks great. Save that, Control W. Have that load up. Boom. I think that's really, really good. I might just push this a little bit and kind of push those shadows just slightly. And there we go. That's another one that's done. Last one we have is this bathroom, which hilariously, this lady, again, we got to make sure we get these off in Photoshop too. I'll go check those in a minute. This is a glass shower door that's behind here, like it's encased, and she put this over it. For what reason, I don't know. She will never see this video. If you do, I'm not trying to offend you on your decorating choice. I'm not entirely sure why you did this, but it's the door isn't bad. Like, it's a bronze door and it's like a rain glass, so it's like kind of opaque. It's not dirty, it's not broken, it's not cracked. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting when I got there and I was like, I don't remember that from when we first shot it, and she changed it, but again, this one, there's not a lot we're gonna need to do. We're going to open it in Photoshop just to do a little bit of color correction, a little bit of color removal. But again, Infuse does such a good job. This literally took no time for me to get to this point. Like, this photo is me bringing it into, importing it into Photoshop, putting it in a stack, clicking my pre-infuse preset, and then syncing that across all the photos, and then hitting blend with Lightroom Infuse, make sure the align image was checked, and then I just pushed another preset. This was less than, I mean, sitting here work, it took me longer to import these photos and organize them than it did to get to this photo. And this photo is like far better than 90% of the real estate photos I see out there, because they're just too much. People put too much effort into a lot of this stuff, and it ends up just looking really flat. Oh, this is a smart object. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't need it to be a smart object. We're just going to take these out with the replace tool. That didn't do as good. And what we will do, I don't like that. Again, do I think people will notice? We're going to use the healing brush tool, which gives us a little bit of a content aware texture. And of course, what happens when you get too close to it, right? Okay. I'm just trying to like get the texture to kind of match up a little bit better. There, that looks better. All right, it matches all the rest of the wall. Let's put a color layer on there. I like this brightness over here. Let's just kind of, again, paint this in. Nice. Our goal is not to make it wildly different, but our goal is to make it more similar. Just to kind of make those color castings not feel so bad. Now, this one's an interesting one because I don't really have a neutral. So I'm going to go make it neutral, and I'm going to make it kind of a neutral gray like this, a little brighter. I'm just going to come in here and kind of, there we go. That just kind of takes that warm haze off and makes it a little bit more white. You can see, we'll just turn it on and off. Here we go. I'm not worried about this. I don't think it really matters. Save, Control W, and that's it. That's everything. I have some exterior pictures, but we're not going to go over those because I don't think they're really anything to look at. The lake is not very nice. She just wanted me to take a picture of it. So we will finish up with brightening this a little bit. Pull those highs down slightly. Boost the shadows a little bit. Maybe turn that down just a hair. Just like that. We're done. And that's Handheld. Handheld HDR photos using Lightroom Infuse. These were raw. I have not done these before. As you can see, there were things I had to deal with as I came up to them, but they're beautiful. Like, they're super sharp. They're really in focus. The color is really nice. The grading is beautiful between everything. And this is just another reason why I think Lightroom Infuse is one of the best plugins out there to spend money on, for whatever you can pay, because again, it's donationware. But it is so far to me, it is far superior to anything else I've used. So I really hope that was helpful. We will be going over presets. We will be going over a lot of different things. I'm going to break them up into little individual videos. And we're going to go over it. I want one thing to be clear about presets though. There is not a one-click solution, and there is not a preset that I can give you that is going to make your photography look like mine or like anybody else's. These presets are so camera dependent that I can give it to you, but your camera could take this same picture and it could look completely different, because every camera has different camera or color science, excuse me. It has different processing science, and depending on how you import it, depending on your defaults, depending on what profile you use, it could look different depending on the monitor. So I want to make that clear that a preset should be a starting point, and it should be what works for you. If you push a preset that you make from me or you get from somebody else and it feels off, listen to that feeling. Because if it's off to you, it's going to feel off to everybody else. And I am about making sure that whenever I put something out, I feel good about it. And I feel like I put something out that I can stand behind. And if somebody comes back to me, I'm like, no, I don't. This is why I think it's this. This is why I stand behind it. Not just like, oh, well, I pushed a button. I don't know. Sure, I'll do. Like, I want to have a good faith argument, because I think this is a good faith photo. And I think that I presented something that handheld, not planned, wasn't going to be shot at all until I got there and said, sure, I can try. And this is what we came up with. I think there's more than enough agents who would be happy with this. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll go from there. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I really appreciate it. We'll keep going.